I always get asked what tools my guests use to build their businesses. What CRM is that? What camera are they using? How do they track their sales? So I did the work for you. I compiled a list of the top 20 tools and resources mentioned by my guests into a free PDF guide. It's the exact tech stack building 7-figure businesses use right now. You can grab it for free. Download the Guest Black Book at go.tronpodcast.com. Stop guessing and start building. Link in the show notes. T.R.O.N podcast listeners, the randomness of nothing always tries to get people from fascinating walks of life about what they do, what they created, what they made. And this man is the epitome of it because he's the side hustle samurai. And obviously side hustles are very prominent in the language, but this is a guy who pioneered the method, who's never had a real job. So for people who really want to get some anecdotes, some life lessons, and some learnings from a guy who's willing to share it with us, Bart Merrell, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I very much appreciate it. So like your background, I had to laugh kind of a little bit because it's like acres of big poop, right? You're the first, we'll get to that with that statement, but it's really monetize your mindset. And now you're also a coach and you have courses about how people can basically, if they find themselves at a crossroads, how they can survive and thrive on their own.
Yes. And, people often ask me, well, how did you get here? And it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't on purpose at all. My dream job was to get in the FBI and chase serial killers. And I didn't make it. Make a long story short, I had RK surgery done on my eyes back when it first came out. And I found out that automatically disqualified me because the FBI didn't want to put tens of thousands of dollars into an agent and then have him go blind because it was still considered experimental. Right. And I was devastated. I was just like, what am I going to do? And I kind of fell back on what my dad taught me, and that he never set me down and taught me the birds and the bees of business. He just showed me by example, by having his hands in many things. And so anything that crossed my path, good, bad, or ugly, I always ask, can I monetize it, or how can I monetize it?
Wow.
And that comes natural to me. And if you didn't grow up with my dad or someone like my dad, you don't think like I do. And so I'm here to help people think like I do and not leave money on the table that is just right there for the grabbing.
I think that there's something to be said. You said, I looked at your biography, you grew up in a town of 200 people, right? So you had...
Well, that was my high school.
Okay, I apologize.
My high school was 7th grade through 12th grade was around 200 people.
That's crazy.
And you had people driving, 60 miles to get to school.
Wow. That's, and so, and I read where you said, like, it's great to be there because everybody wants to succeed, but everybody kind of knows your business. And so the idea that you see things that other people don't it's a characteristic and a trait that I think that, and I don't want to get too far deep into education, people have convinced themselves that there's only one way to be successful or to actually make money, because that's what's been permeated through your thought process of a lot of people.
Yeah, it's been ingrained from grade school on. We go to school, we get a job, go to college, get more education, and it's going to get us a better job. Not true. And in this day and time, especially with the advent of AI and AI coming out, and knowledge is right there at your fingertips.
Absolutely, it is.
There's no deficit of knowledge because you didn't go to school.
Right.
And so
it's funny you say
anything you want.
Right. And it's funny you say that because, like, it's almost like if let's say you're a musician and, you have an opportunity to get like a record contract. There's really no excuse to sign a bad record contract because you can YouTube of all the platfalls to avoid getting a bad record contract. Whereas, 30, 40, 50 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, it was like you just signed whatever was in front of you because you didn't have the resources that were in front of you to make a good sound decision.
Correct. Everything's just right there.
It really is. So you started off, you were a mobile DJ at 15. Tell me about that.
So I bought my first stereo at age 11. I love music. I love listening to music. And I worked all summer on the pig farm to get the $285 to buy this Sanyo all-in-one system. Yeah. And most people can't even imagine what this is, but it had a cassette deck over here, tuner in the middle, an 8-track player on this side, and a record player on top. I mean, it was a dream for me. I mean, I would go to my bedroom, I'd crank that up. Mom and Dad was like, oh, why do we let him get that? But little did I know that this was a liability, because every time we went to town, I had to buy the new tunes. And back then, you couldn't just buy the one song you liked or the two songs you liked. You had to buy the crap with the good two songs that are on the
Yeah.
cassette or the CD or whatever
Right,
it
right.
was at the time. And so as I was just like, oh, this is a lot of money for a little kid, but I was doing it. Then when I got my driver's license at 15, I was just like, okay, I'm playing the music. I love it. I need to make money at it. And so
Right.
I had my car. I bought a little enclosed trailer to pull my stuff around, and
Yeah.
I started doing dances. But there was nobody in my small town in New Mexico hiring 15-year-old DJs.
Hmm.
And so I had to create my own opportunity. I rented the community center,
Yeah.
hired an off duty cop for security. Mom and dad took money at the door, and I spun records. Everybody had a great time. I I made $600-700 a night doing something I love
Isn't that is amazing?
as a 15-year-old kid back in the 80s.
Listen, I was on a college campus in 2001, and $150 was like liquid gold, right? Like it was like you might as well have broke open the treasury of Fort Knox. 600-700 bucks as a 16-year-old kid, cash by themselves living at home.
Yeah.
Man, that's insane.
And I did that through college. It gave me the extra money to do stuff, to do
Yeah.
fun things. My dad always said I had a champagne taste and a beer budget, so it helped me with my champagne taste.
I got to ask you, and I hate to interrupt. I ask this because oftentimes when people do things that are out of the unconventional means, you have the naysayers or you have the people that are like, well, I don't do that. Or it's all, did you have naysayers that, at your peer level that were like, well, why would you do that? Or that's not the traditional path to success?
Not at the peer level, but let's just imagine what can happen at one of these dances. You have people that maybe get in a fight. You have people that maybe go, kids go out and maybe consume alcohol, not inside the venue because I had a cop there, but then things happen. And some parents would look down on me a little bit because my
You're the DJ.
events had stuff happen at them sometimes. And it was very minimal, and it was not very often, but you still had parents looking down on this kid who was putting on dances.
Yeah, it's
But it was
unfortunate.
a place for people to go and do something in small town America. I mean, it was
It
amazing.
was footloose.
Yeah, I mean, it was after the football games. What else are they going to do after the
Exactly.
basketball games? They're going to go party somewhere. We may as well
Yeah.
come to my dance.
Absolutely. So what did that mindset lead to you while you're going through college and you're doing that and to elevate you later on in life? Say, oh man, I can certainly bounce into this. I can navigate into this avenue. Where did that lead you to other things to monetize and start realizing that there's I can do this, all the time.
So nothing really happened until my dream job got blown up.
Oh wow.
When my dream job got blown up, right after, I mean, I'm grad. So to get into the FBI, I was encouraged to take accounting classes because it was the easiest way in the FBI. And so I'm going to college studying accounting. I found out very quickly that I do not like accounting, and I was not very good at it. So I graduated in something that don't like, and I'm not good at, and my whole purpose in life just blow up. It's blown up, and so I'm devastated.
I can only imagine.
And I'm doing my part-time job that I was doing at college, which was landscaping, and for $5 an hour. I mean, it wasn't very much at all. And a buddy of mine jokingly asked me, would you like to go back to Japan? Because I'd spent some time in Japan, and he worked for a bungee jump company,
Yeah.
and they had just sold a tower in Japan. And I'm like, I thought about it 1 second, and I non-jokingly responded, yeah, I think I would. And so I contracted with the company in Japan to come and help them with the installation and with the training. And I was all expenses paid plus 15 an hour, so triple what I was making
Easy
at
decision.
it was an easy decision. And then the company liked me. And so I just went back and forth from Japan to America. I'd spend 3 or 4 months in Japan doing things. We did other amusement park rides together. The Sky Coaster, it's a big swing thing in all the parks
Yeah.
here in the USA. And they actually called me and said, hey, do you have one of those close to you that you can go try? And they paid me like $3,000 to go try it.
Are you serious? That's crazy.
Yes, and I went and tried it. It was like an hour and a half from where I lived. Me and my girlfriend, we went on a date to the park. We did it, and I reported back, and so we took that first one of those to Japan. And then they called me. I remember it was right around Christmas time, and they said, this was probably 1997, 1998. And they called me and they said, we saw this thing on TV. It's in Germany. It's a complete unattached free fall into a net from about 150 feet in the air.
Mm.
We want you to go try it.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
just kind of go, unattached free fall into a net. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
I know. That's why we want you to go try it.
Yeah. Let's call this guy, right? He's already, we need a low risk and no insurability whatsoever.
Let's call the test dummy. Emphasis on dummy.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to say that. You said it, but it's like, yeah, let's get this guy. Everybody else, our citizens' lives aren't worth it. Let's get this guy from overseas.
Yeah, and I called Germany, and it turned out that it was only for stuntmen right at the time, stunt
Yeah,
people at the time.
yeah.
And I never thought I would get a call back. They said, we'll call you back when it's ready for the public. 2 months later, I got a call, and I was on a plane to Germany to try this thing. Tried it 3 or 4 times, continued on to Japan. We sold 3 in Japan, and then I contracted with the German company to help build 2 of those in the United States.
And see, these are the things they don't teach you. You can't be educated hustle, right? It either has to be in your DNA. It has to be inherently, belonging to you. But then now one thing leads to another, and you're meeting people overseas, and then the contract leads to the next contract, so to speak.
Yeah, and even so, I'm in Japan with doing all these things. I'm going to a gym in Japan, and I'm this big gaijin, this big American that nobody wants to talk to because he's big, one, and number two, they don't know if he speaks Japanese. So I'm in this gym for like 2 or 3 weeks, nobody talking to me except the staff, and this one guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hello," and I said, "Hello." And then I start speaking Japanese to him. He's like, "Poof, I'm glad you speak Japanese because I
Yeah,
was done at Hero."
yeah.
We became friends. He was a big rig driver in Japan, drove big trucks in Japan. He said about a year and a half after we met, he's like, "I want to quit driving big rigs and start importing camping trailers and Ford and Dodge diesel pickups from America. Will you help me?" I thought he knew how to do it. I said yes.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to do it.
Oh,
So
smokes.
we learned together, and we've been doing that since 1997. We still do it to this day.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's amazing. But he's a guy who had drive and connected with the person that could ultimately, if he had a need and he saw a void in the market, and then he saw a person that was already involved with doing things, and that's how he linked up.
Yeah, we became friends, and he's like, you got to help me. You can help me." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And we figured it out together. You have I'm drawing a blank right now. Branson,
Yeah.
the Virgin
Virgin.
Records guy, Virgin
Yeah.
Airlines.
Yes.
He has a
Richard
quotation that
Branson.
is
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson. Yeah, I was
Yes.
saying Russell, but it's Richard.
Yeah.
And he has a quotation that goes, "If someone comes to you with an amazing opportunity and you don't know how to do it, say yes and learn as you go."
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what we did. But what it is the opportunity came. So let's call it luck. Okay, I was in the gym. This guy, we made friends. Luck. But luck is when opportunity and preparedness meet. And I add one more thing: you take action.
Without question.
Without the action, nothing happens.
Without question.
And so that's what me and this guy did. And like I said, it's been a really great side hustle for what? How long is that now? 28, 29 years.
The most amazing part about this is that, you're not going to find those things posted on the internet. You're not going to no, it's one of those things that if you don't talk, if you don't navigate, if you don't network, if you don't move, make connections, there's nothing advertised about an opportunity like that you're going to see. You either know people, make the transactions take place and happen, or you don't, and you will never have that access of information like that.
Yeah. And you have to have the mindset that you have to make things happen. Like as a DJ, nobody was hiring me. I went out and I created my own thing. So I want to take that a step further to now in my life. What do I talk about? I talk about teaching people side hustles. That's what I speak on. Apple or AT&T or whatever business is not going to pay me to come into their corporation and speak on side hustles and getting people to side hustles, because they don't want their employees to go do side hustles. They want them to focus on work. So what do I do? I create my own events on teaching people how to identify their ideal side hustle and make money that way. Another side business based around, I love speaking about this stuff. I love talking about it and helping people with it. I love seeing people. You can see them when you're talking to them and you're talking about the different ideas that they might have. You can see the one that they should probably try first, because their countenance change, their excitement changes. They can explain it to you in a way that you can understand it, and you think, "Oh yeah, I probably need that."
Well, it's funny,
So,
when yeah. I'm so sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I was just
No,
going
I
to
was
say,
just saying. I was just
awkward.
going to
Yeah.
say that when something comes across your path, you may have to take action to make it happen. It's not just going to go, "Hey,
You're right.
let's do this. Let's do
Right.
this, dude."
And yeah, sitting on, I promise you that nobody's going to call you off your couch and present you with an opportunity. Like, if you're sitting at home, man, I hope somebody gives me a shot. Man, I hope this actually happens. That's really, it's just a wish, right? And so when people start asking, what your business is, if you talk to enough people, you'll have that one person that will say, okay, tell me details about it. And it better not be vague. It better not be a bunch of ums and unfinished sentences, because you'll get that one person that will start asking you details and you're going to look foolish, right? Because they're really going to want to know, your friends will pat you on the back. The serious person that's sitting out there be like, oh, what's your LLC, what's your, MVP, all the details that go along with it. And if you can't fill in those gaps, they'll quickly find out that you just talk.
Yeah. Yep.
And so your courses, I first of all, I always think of the movie The Maltese Falcon. The character's name was Casper Gutman. And he says, by Sidney Greenstreet, I'm a movie guy. And he says, I just trust a closed mouth man. Now, I enjoy a man who likes to talk. He's like, now, sir, talking is something you don't learn judiciously. It's something you have to practice at. Now, sir, we'll talk, but I'm telling you right now, I'm a man that likes talking to a man that likes to talk, right? So, and the way that line rolled off in that movie, I've always loved that quote, right? Because you love talking to a man who loves to talk, and that's why you're so successful in your field. So let's talk about like your side hustle samurai courses as you navigate not having the conventional path to success.
So finding somebody's ideal side hustle is what my goal is. I don't come into this when I'm working with someone, I don't come into it with an agenda. Hey, come join my network marketing company. Come sell my stuff and make money selling my stuff. We go through their life and their experiences and find the unique things about them that they could turn into a stream of income. Maybe it's something they're already doing, which that's a bonus, or something they like to do because they're going to be doing it anyway. You might as well get paid to do it.
Right.
There's several things in my life, and then things you need to do. Let's take a quick detour. I don't know if you did your research. You probably know that I have my lower left leg amputated.
Yes.
This is just recently. It was 2024, March 25th, 2024. I found out it was going to happen in 2023. And when I found out it was going to happen, after the shock and awe was over, my twisted mind goes, okay, I don't like this, but it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. So how can I monetize it? 6 months post-op, I am sitting with my prosthetist. And I said, hey, Scott, I interviewed 3 other prosthetists before I decided on you. One of them had a guy that I could ask questions like, how bad is this going to hurt? How long till I can get back to work? How long? What about phantom pain? Am I going to have phantom pain? I could ask questions to. Scott, you don't have a guy. I'm your guy.
Right.
And that started the negotiation. And once again, I don't want a job. I told him that. I said, Scott, I don't want a job. I don't want to come into the office every day. Yeah. I want to be on retainer. You send me the numbers. I will talk to people.
Right.
And so I am still on retainer. It's been, we're almost 2 years now.
Right.
And I'm on retainer where I help him just help the people that are going to go through what it is I went through, because it's not easy.
Oh my gosh, no. I can only imagine.
Once again, I didn't want to have my leg chopped off, and I'm not saying your audience should go chop off body parts to get a
Yeah,
side hustle.
absolutely
That's not.
not. Right.
I'm just saying, whatever crosses your path, always ask that question. I help people to start thinking like this by asking them questions. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? And I have them make lists, and I say, don't think about whether you can monetize it. Don't qualify anything now. Just make your list. Even if you have an idea that I have people come to me, hey, but I want to start this. I say, okay, I know you have an idea already in mind, but trust the process. Let's go through the process. And they always come up with something in addition to or something different than what they initially came to me with.
Right. And I would love you to give the full quote of what we talked about earlier that has kind of been misused in history when it comes to what you're referring to in that regard.
Yeah, people come to me and they'll say, well, I need to focus on my work because you know what they say, jack of all trades. And I'm like, jack of all trades what? Jack of all trades, master of none. And I say, do you know what you're saying? Do you know the full quotation? Yeah, I need to focus. I says, no, the full quotation is jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than the master of one.
Mm.
We use that quotation totally opposite than what it's meant for.
Yes.
For some reason, someone decided I need to just focus, and we chopped off the end of that quotation.
Right. And you know the thing is about it is that the conventional ways to success has in many ways trapped people to not tap into their full potential, has trapped people into segments of or lifestyles that they're unhappy with because it becomes mundane and routine for them. Or, market conditions dictate that they have to pivot when they're not prepared to do so. Right.
Can we talk about another quotation that's out there?
Absolutely.
Henry David Thoreau said, what did he say? That the majority of people out there, and I'm just paraphrasing his quote, are living in quiet desperation. And I heard this from a speech coach of mine. He was talking to me we were talking about what I do, and he says, you give hope to people, and I'm just like, really? People are living in quiet desperation? No, not that many people are living in quiet desperation. I think that way because I've never done the real job thing. But I can imagine that a lot of people are unhappy with what they're doing, the mundane, whatever it is that they have to do to survive, rather than, like you said, get their full potential and do the things that may or be a little bit different that people, let's go back to you ask me if people said stuff about me as a DJ as a kid. Nowadays, with social media and everything that's out there, we're worried about what everybody thinks. And that gets in our head and stops us from jumping out of the norm
Right.
and reaching our full potential.
Right. And the sad reality about it is that we often pass it down to our kids and to the next generation, right? And so, I always think of the quote, you laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh because you're all the same, right? And so it really is. And then this show is focused on the rule breakers, the non-conventional paths to success, the people who are willing to get chuckled at, so to speak, but ultimately found out that this made them more lucrative. It made them more happy. The most recession-proof profession is a mortician, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's just keep it totally honest with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
People are always sadly going to leave this earth, and that's all she wrote. I love what you're offering. I know you have multiple websites, you have multiple streams of income, and I think this show and episode is very important because you've mastered that. What are your courses when onboarding somebody and what you have to offer to people?
So I do a workshop. I call it a workshop on purpose. It's not an event, and it is a no fluff workshop. If you're not in touch with your feelings, you're not going to get in touch with your feelings at my workshop. But it's called the Identify Your Ideal Side Hustle Workshop. I do them live in Utah, and then I do them virtually online. And the registration link for the next event will always be at sidehustledojo.com.
Yeah.
And that's a free workshop. And obviously there's going to be an offer. You're going to get lots of value. and you're going to find your idea. You're going to walk out with a handful of ideas, but you're also going to get an offer of ways to work with me. If you need a mentor, you need someone to hold your hand and get that to a stream of income. But the course it's free. It's an all day course whenever it's in person. Online, I split that into 2 days so that it's a little bit less monotonous sitting in front of your computer. But it's if you want to learn how to think like I do and identify the opportunities that are all around you, it's a perfect place to start.
I would love to somehow partner the show with your services. If there's some sort of, if you do have a different course or higher level, and if there's a paid option, maybe we can have like some sort of affiliate link, with the podcast. If people want to identify a side hustle, they can say, hey, I heard this on the T.R.O.N podcast. I would love to find more about Bart Merrell and his services they have to offer. I think that this could be a very high level benefit to the audience and the people who listen.
Absolutely. We can do that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think that would be great. And I've always found it fascinating because whenever I try to encompass somebody's success and career in 25, 30 minutes, it's still not enough, right? Because we could talk about your time in Japan. We could talk about pig farming. Is there anything we haven't discussed that you would like to talk about?
So what I want people to understand is there's opportunities all around us, and you're overlooking them. Have you heard the story Acres of Diamonds?
I have not, but I would love to hear it.
So Acres of Diamond is about a Persian farmer. His name was Ali Afed. He sold his farm and he went in search of diamonds. He died broke alone in a foreign land. He never found his riches. The farmer that bought his farm was watering his camel in a brook that ran through the property. He looked down in the water and he saw a strange rock, and it was a diamond.
Are you serious?
He found acres of diamonds in what was Ali Afed's backyard.
Oh, wow. In your own backyard.
My family, we have a similar story. Instead of acres of diamonds, I have to sit up for this. It's called acres of pig poop. Like mentioned, I grew up in a small town. There were more pigs than people in my town because of us. We were pig farmers. At any one time on our farm, we had roughly 19,000 pigs on the farm. We had about 2,000 sows.
Wow.
Do you know what a sow is?
I've heard it, but I've never been on a farm. I consider myself a pretty smart guy, but off the top of my head, I don't know what that is.
It's a mama pig.
Okay.
So we had about 2,000 sows, and a mama pig can give birth 2.5 times a year.
Holy cow.
And on our farm, we average 9.97 pigs per litter. So if you do the math, that equals a lot of pig poop.
Sure does.
So we had these man-made ponds called the lagoons that we would send the sewage to. 1 year it'd go here, next year here, next year here. We just rotated, settling pond. Now, Dad, when he got in his mid-60s, he decided it was time to shut down the pig operation and go in search of his next acres of diamonds. He died at age 81. He never found his next big opportunity. About 2 years after he passed, we sold the farm for $235,000, which was a fair price for the property at the time. 6 months later, the new owners of our farm were leveling those man-made ponds, the lagoons. Now, they had been dry on top for years.
Right.
They've been nothing going into them since like 1993 or 4. They've been dry forever.
Yeah.
But the heavy grader was going across the pond and broke through the crust and sunk up to its belly in this black muck. Liquid, soft, mushy black muck.
Yeah.
They called in experts. Right there on the spot, they offered the new owners of our farm $2,000 a ton for the stuff. That's $1 a pound for old pig poop. The farm that we sold for $235,000 was now worth over $1 million.
Yikes.
Acres of diamonds right under my dad's nose.
And here you are looking for other things to make, the opportunity, and it's sitting right in front. I mean, literally, you're dealing with it every single day. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, that's got to sting, but it's also, you've obviously found success outside of that situation. But those are the things that, people don't see because they're seeking and they don't actually see what's in front of them. And
Dad was looking, and it was right there.
Isn't it? I went to college, right? And so I have a family of barbers, right? And so what's funny is like I never learned to cut hair. I can I can do a beard and decent and line myself up. I go to college, right? And one of my best friends in college is a barber. And you see the line of people, like think about it, a college campus with thousands of customers that need to have their hair cut, right? And and all of a sudden I'm getting my hair cut by this dude. And I'm like, you never have to get a job in college. You will always have people needing to cut hair in between class, on weekends.
Yep.
You don't have to pay for a haircut. It's organic because it's somebody's doing hair. So you're like, dude, you cut hair. Then they bring their friend, right? And then you can schedule your own time. Here, and I'm literally at this guy's apartment, and I'm like, damn, I did. Are you serious? All just learning how to cut hair, and those are the things that was staring at me in my face the entire time. And it never occurred to me when I was 18, man, I really should have learned that skill.
Yeah. And so people who are listening to this podcast, think about the things that are right there in front of you that you may be overlooking.
Right.
Don't be like Alia Fed or my dad and miss your opportunity, because it's right there. Oh
my gosh.
Within your grasp, right there in your own backyard, in my dad's case, right under his nose, and it may look like a pile of pig poop.
Well, you know what? I think that this is one of the most, this is up there for me, because like when you hear about non-conventional past success, you were to say you never had, a real job, and, to be able to cross travel and see the world, make deals and share that information with people. This is what this show was created for, was to find those people that, have cultivated those type of mindsets, thoughts, and processes, and more importantly, willing to share it with other people. And there's something that's very, very, that I cherish about that, and I'm very grateful for your time. It's for the purpose of this.
Thank you, and let's give your audience one more free gift. I have the 1K blind spot assessment. What's holding you back from making your first $1,000 on the side? And you can get that at youridealsidehustle.com. It's just a short 10-minute quiz, multiple choice questions, and it is going to tell you the things that you're good at, but it's also going to identify the blind spots that you might need to focus on. And if you take, it's just a free assessment that it'll also connect you with me. So it'll connect you with me so you can hear when I put stuff out and all that good stuff.
And I went to the website, and, that's going to be a self-assessment I'm doing myself too, to be quite honest with you. Right. And so I think that there's beauty in being self-assessment and self-aware. And sometimes you just need somebody to bring it out for you. Right. And so I want to thank Bart Merrell for your time, and where can people find you? And I'm very gracious that you were willing to share this information.
I'm on Facebook. That's where I'm the most active. But just get that assessment. That'll hook me up, and I will, anytime something new comes out, you'll get a quick email from me saying, hey, if this is something you're interested in, have a look. It's there.
I really appreciate you. And for people who enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show. Bart Merrell is sharing the life and insights of what the side hustle is all about. And with all due respect, it may be a big pile of poo that's staring you in your face. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yep. That was fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm